So, Bill, you have the eighth season almost here for Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, and I know the timetable of a program matters as much as anything else. How do you view it?
Well, history tells you in almost every professional sport, it takes you 2 to 3 years to build a program when you come in. And then you've got somewhere between 5 to 7 years of lifespan for those guys that have become key contributors for you. If you're able in football to have the quarterback, and hopefully he plays 10 to 12 years, you really got a lifespan of two teams. The first, and then when they start to age out, somewhere between year 6 and 8, they have to turn it over again. So that's where the Bills are. They have some key core guys who have been with them for a long time and will continue to be with them, most notably the quarterback. But now they're adding new and improved and young, vibrant pieces to them. And if you look at the draft this year and the moves in the offseason, the trade of the receiver, et cetera, and then adding people in the offseason, you see that they're right on target, as they always are. I mean, Brandon and Sean are right on. They do it by the book, the absolute best in the league in terms of recognizing when it's time to move on from a player and creatively replacing them. So that's the process that's going on now. So this is as Paul Brown used to say, keep it green and growing. They're keeping this team green and growing.
Let's talk about that draft, and particularly Keon Coleman, because there was so much speculation and demand, I guess, by the fan base that, they were going to go after a receiver. They did, but maybe not quite the way a lot of people expected.
Well, obviously, they know what they're doing, and the people that expect it don't. So I'm going with Brandon and Sean every day of the week, but and twice on Sunday. But in Coleman, they needed a receiver. They added a big physical guy who could go and get 50-50 balls and who can get open and catch the ball really, really well in zone situations. The thing he lacks is incredible speed. But with Josh, they don't see, unless it's blitz situations, an overabundance of man coverage, because they don't want those DBs turning their backs to Josh if he takes off and runs. That's a 40-yard run. So you're seeing lots of combination coverages, which requires, and then particularly in the red zone, where things get really circumscribed, and where Josh's running ability in the open field doesn't come into play. If he's going to run, he's going to power it in there. So you get much more man coverage and you get much more congestion in there. They needed a big guy along with the tight ends to go get the ball. And that's what Coleman can do. And they traded down out of the first round, picked up additional picks throughout the draft in order to do that, particularly an additional second. And so they turned their attention to defense, which is where the youth needed to come. So in terms of the first pick or the second pick, Cole Bishop, the safety from Utah, probably step right in and play right away. He's ready. He knows what to do. Sean can get him ready to play. It's a simple enough system that he'll find a role. Maybe he'll just be on nickel to start with, but he's stepping in and he'll be the guy of the future. So that's two picks of guys in rounds 2 to trade back. Instead of having one pick, they had 2, and they're now getting those 2 guys on the field. The next guy, Dwayne Carter, fits a perfect need. There needed to be another defensive tackle in there who can rush. He's a defensive tackle from Duke. He is an upfield, off the, go get him, active defensive tackle. Just the kind that they play with. A running mate for Ed Oliver. He'll get on the field and he's going to play I think, and play a role as a rookie. So you got three guys there who are going to come in, and I think probably play a significant roles right out of the box. And then Ray Davis, the running back, is a bowling ball slam banger, and he'll fit right in that group. I don't think there's any question about that. And he's a tough dude, so he's going to add something on special teams as well. And with the new kickoff return rule, I think when it's all said and done, and this is going to be well past the midpoint of the season, because nobody knows what's going to happen right out of the box. This is the first time in my involvement in the National Football League, which is over 50 years, when we don't know what the hell's going to happen when we make a rule. For the 20 years I was on the competition committee, we could predict what was going to happen because we tried it in the preseason. We talked it through until we were blue in the face. We examined every comma and every semicolon in the rule, figured out ways to beat it. Now we have no idea. But my guess is, because of the way they're aligned and the floaters, et cetera, I think this is going to be a running play. The kickoff return is going to be a running play. It's going to be a power. It's going to be an inside or outside zone, more likely inside zone. Traps, you'll see some counter traps and things like that. And so the running backs are the more likely returners, rather than the guys who are just pure right straight ahead speedsters, skinny guys who can get knocked down. Bill Belichick already said he thinks there are going to be more big guys on the cover teams. I agree. So and it's always good to agree with him anyway. He knows what he's doing. And so I think that Davis could play a role. That you're going to be looking for a pounder in there, which he is. And then Van Granger is a guy who had some injury difficulties, I believe, at Georgia, but he's a big, solid guy who, if he can stay healthy, adds a pretty darn good commodity there to the offensive line. And then the others are all, let's see what they do, if they make it or not. But I think if you come out of a draft with 5 guys who can contribute, or even 4 guys who can contribute, it's been a great draft. And not only did they do that, but they filled specific needs, which they always do.
Knowing that this is going to be a younger team with more cap-friendlier contracts, because it had been a team that had obviously gotten itself into some cap issues, and redoing that.
But when you win, you always get into cap issues.
Right. And when you're paying the quarterback, right.
Yeah, that's what the system's designed to do.
So knowing that, Bill, and having been through that yourself as a GM, how do you see the adjustment? Like what are the important elements now for Sean, this coaching staff, to deal with when your team gets younger, but you still have obviously some of those pieces that make you a competitive, contending type team?
Well, I think they've always done this. They're not overly complicated. They don't rely on aged veterans to fill the bill because they know what to do. They've had the ability to put people into the system and have them contribute almost immediately. As an example, and the timing is absolutely right. That what was a 6-game streak that at the end of the season to get into the playoffs. That was largely driven by Rasul Douglas trade, and then young players coming in and contributing, because the team was bereft of veterans because of injury. So that's the right time to get them on the field the last third of the season when they're acclimated. But I think you'll see some of these fellas play a little earlier, just like last year's number 1, the tight end did. I mean, he came in and contributed right from the get-go. So they'll get on the field and they'll contribute simply because Sean's system and coaching style allows that to happen much more than other places around the league.
when you look at what other teams in the AFC East, in the AFC have done this offseason, Bill, and especially when you look at how this AFC East might fundamentally change if there isn't a healthy Aaron Rodgers playing all or most of the season. What are your thoughts on what the Bills have to do to, get past the competition that ultimately has kept them from getting to the Super Bowl?
Well, I think that if Aaron Rodgers is healthy and can play the whole season at the typical Aaron Rodgers level, even at his age, then and they can protect him, which is the biggest issue of all. They're instant contenders because that defense is really, really good. They've got some people on offense who can make plays. They added some who can make plays, and with Rodgers, I think they become contenders. There's no two ways about it. Miami keeps tinkering. They change defensive coordinators again. We got to see what they look like before we can really say that they're true contenders on defense. But offensively, Coach McDaniel is a little bit like a mad genius. He keeps grabbing pieces. Guys who can he got a 4x100 relay team there now. I mean, they're really hard to handle with all those receivers, and he's never met a speed receiver he doesn't like. So that's going to be a challenge. They're going to be a challenge offensively. Now, can they play that style and win in Buffalo in December and January? We'll find out. That's an interesting issue. The Patriots, this is a retool. This is a rebuild. So I don't see them, particularly with a rookie quarterback, being a major challenger. But the other two are really, really tough. I mean, they're hard to deal with.
And then the Chiefs and the Bengals, the Texans. I mean, as you look around the landscape of the AFC, Bill, again, if we're projecting who the Bills might be colliding with, and it might be teams in their division, but colliding with in the postseason, those teams obviously took some steps as well.
Without question. And the AFC is by far tougher than the NFC by a wide margin. Kind of flipped, the way it was when we were there. The NFC had the really dominant teams. Not a lot of them, but the top ones were dominant. Now it's the AFC with the dominant teams. So it's a long run through the playoffs. Kansas City, obviously. Cincinnati, obviously. Baltimore, obviously. So, I mean, those are three. Cleveland, if their quarterback comes back healthy and can play, shake the rust off, they are a definite contender. Pittsburgh, I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll have to see how Russell does. But and I don't think Fields is not. He's not ready yet to be Lamar 2.0. But the bottom line is that's a really tough division, and there are at least two genuine contenders in there. In the West, the Chargers, look out, man. For one thing, they're going to put knots on your head with Jim Harbaugh's run game. They're going to be hard to play against, and they got really, really good players. That was a coaching situation. They did not make use of the players that they had to the best of their ability. They had really good players and have really good players. So what do we name? If you count Miami and the Jets, there's about 7 genuine contenders. And that's more than there is really in a lot of years in the league. There's only 7 in the AFC. So good luck.
Great. Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you.